Hi guys, Nathan Middle Down Under here. Hope you're all doing well and Happy New Year. It's 4th day of January over here in New Zealand, and I thought I'd jump on the heavy metal tag, which has been going for about 4 years now. First couple were done by the Rock Scout, and now he's passed the torch on to the boys at the Metallurgy channel. They did it last year and are doing it again this year. And yeah, another bunch of great questions. I struggled with a couple of them, but I came up with answers to all of the questions in the end. So without further ado, so this video is not too long, like half my videos these days, because I know that I prattle on. I'll get on with it. Number one, hype. Name a release you eagerly anticipate in 2025. Now I've got a couple. The first one being my favourite thrash metal band of all time, hopefully, with any luck. Testament will bring out a new album in 2025. I know that they have been in the studio, but let's just hope for a new one from Testament. Really looking forward to that. Saw them live in 2024 for the first time, which was damn amazing. And the other one is my favourite band at the moment, or has been for the last 5 or 6 years. That is Arch Enemy. Now they're bringing out a new album in March. Forgotten the title of it, but yeah, really looking forward to the new Arch Enemy as well. So yeah, that's the two I'm most looking forward to. Number two, the 25th album in your collection. Now you can either go with CD or vinyl, and because this is the vinyl tag, I've gone with a vinyl. And my 25th album in my collection would be Adrenaline Mob and We the People. Awesome album art. Unfortunately, this band is no longer around after a bus crash, and a couple of members, well, a member died, and I think one of the roadies or some member of staffing also died, and they haven't put anything out since. But yeah, fantastic album from Adrenaline Mob. Pretty sure they're from the States. I'm pretty sure. Almost certain actually from the States. But yeah, this is the only album I actually own from the band. But yeah, good stuff. It's my 25th album in my vinyl collection. Number three, overdue. Name an older band that you checked out for the first time in 2024 and loved. Now this all comes thanks to the one and only Jim Davies, who sent me this album. Of course, I'd heard of this band. Band formed in, I believe, about 2008, 2009 with their first release, but I just never even bothered to check them out. But the band I'm talking about is Flesh God Apocalypse and the album Opera. This is the album from 2024. Yeah, Jim sent me this, and I've gone back and checked out some of the older music now, and yeah, really enjoying it. So we have a bit of Flesh God Apocalypse and Opera. Good stuff. Number four, Feeding the Monkey. How do you purchase most of your music? Now, there's generally three, I would say. First one being Amazon. I buy a lot of my stuff from Amazon US. I haven't had any issues with anything being damaged. They always come in a box inside a box. I've heard some horror stories about people who just receive them and stuff in plastic bags, which is ridiculous, but I've never had the issue. So Amazon is a main one I get my stuff from, and I get it from the States, and the shipping can be reasonably expensive, and the exchange rate's not too good, but generally, they're not too badly priced. Another one I go to, generally for older albums that I'm after, not newer stuff, would be Discogs. I get a lot of my early pressings and CDs and vinyl, OG presses. A lot of them come from Discogs. Pretty expensive for the most part, but the shipping is generally better than Amazon price wise, especially if I find stuff from like Japan or Australia. So much cheaper than if I'm getting stuff out of Europe. And the other one is a label I've been buying from for the last couple of years. They are called Nerve Gas. And now they are in Australia. They have a lot of stuff from, say, Napalm Records, which is the band label I buy the most from. and I can get them for so much cheaper than if I was to buy them from the label over in Austria, which I used to have to do. Cost me an arm and a leg for shipping. But yeah, Nerve Gas, haven't had an issue with them. I also do buy some stuff from the bands themselves. Not so much on Bandcamp, but I buy stuff from the band's websites. I don't generally buy anything off eBay because the shipping prices, especially eBay US, are absolutely retarded, I call it. I can't understand how they can ask for that much money for shipping, so I don't generally buy from eBay. We also have a site over here called Fish Pond, which I do go to every now and again and pick up the odd album they can't find anywhere else. So yeah, it's probably about 5 or 6 places I generally get my music from. Also a place here locally called JB Hi-Fi, retail store. I pick up the odd thing from there as well, especially Century Media releases like Arch Enemy, for example, Dark Tranquility. They are easily available over here in New Zealand, but Nuclear Blast and Napalm Records, you just can't buy them locally here in the shops in New Zealand. But apart from Century Media is the main one. So yep, that's the answer to number 4. Number 5, Enigma. Show a heavy metal band that is musically hard to place in a heavy metal sub-genre. I struggle with this one a little bit, but in the end I've decided to go with a local band here in New Zealand. Been going for a good handful of years now. Had quite a few albums out, 5 or 6 in the short time they've been around. That is a band called Bullet Bout, and this is one of the earlier albums, and very, very hard to put these guys in the sub-genre. Their most recent album is this more straightforward modern metal, but there's all sorts going on with their music. There's black and thrash, there's black metal, there's death metal, thrash metal, straightforward heavy metal. So I find it very, very hard to pigeonhole them into a subcategory. But if I did, especially with their earlier albums, I would definitely say blackened, hard out thrash. But they do have lots of other styles in their music as well, so it's pretty hard to narrow it down just to put them typically into one genre, because they focus on a number. So that's my answer to that one, Bullet Bout. Number 6, Eating Crow. Talk about an album you used to hate, but after years it finally clicked with you. Now I'm going to talk about this one here. Couldn't stand this album back in the day. Absolutely love the first album this band put out. Second one, enjoyed, not quite as much as the debut, but I'm going with the third album here from Cinderella and Heartbreak Station. Now, in previous videos over the years, I've talked about not liking this album at all, but until Jim Davies sent me this on vinyl, I really sat down and decided to just listen to it in its entirety. And yeah, it really, really grew on me, and now I'm really starting to dig this album. Definitely not as much as Night Songs, the debut, or Long Cold Winter, the second album. The main reason why I couldn't really get into this so much is it's a lot more bluesy rock, and bluesy rock really isn't for me. Even like the later era Great White was the same, like the album Hooked, which I'm a big fan of these days. But yeah, I really struggled with this one for many, many years. But yeah, since getting the album from Jim, I really sat down and digested the album in its entirety, and yeah, I really, really enjoy it now. So Cinderella, Heartbreak Station. Impulse. Show an album that you blind bought in 2024. Now I'm so glad I bought this album, because this album became my number 1 album of the year, and that band is Damp out of Sweden. No Angels Alive. Saw this album on the band's on somebody's site, but it was going for quite a bit of money. I thought that sounds interesting. Reading the notes about the band themselves, So I went over to their website and just picked this up. Hadn't heard a single song at the time, but I thought I'd give it a chance. And yeah, so glad I did. Absolutely love this album, featuring members from E-Type. Who else is in there? Hammerfall, Sabaton, Bathory. Yeah, really love this album, and so glad I did, as it became my #1 album of the year. Collect the Scum. Show a title that you own more than one pressing of on the same format. So I'm going for my favourite album of all time. Now I have this on CD, I have it on cassette, but I'm going with the vinyl. I have 2 copies of Europe's Out of This World on vinyl. Hands down my favourite album of all time, and it will stay like that, I know that for a fact. We have a original pressing, and then we have a later reissue, which was kindly sent to me from Bev over at Clarky Vision a few years back now. And she knew I had the album on multiple formats, but she put this on it just because. And yeah, so happy to have 2 pressings of my favourite album of all time, Europe. I was also going to add another one, Garage Days Revisited. I have that on multiple formats, and I also have it on 2 copies on CD. One is in a long box, my only long box, and the other one was the standard CD, but I thought I'd go with my favourite album of all time because I love showing this album. Number 9, show off a Grail that you acquired in 2024. Easy one for me, came straight to mind. Picked this up when I was over in Perth, Western Australia. An album I've wanted for quite a number of years, but finally found an OG copy of it, and that is Exodus and Bonded by Blood. Fantastic album, and yeah, not my favourite from the band. That would be Fabulous Disaster, but this would be a close, a very close second. And yeah, so happy when I found this. Wasn't cheap, but I'd never seen it out in the wild before. OG copies, so had to pick it up. Number 10, a plea to the VCLT gods. What are you on the hunt for? I've got a couple at the moment anyway. Would be Lita Ford's Dangerous Curves. Album came out in '92, I believe. I would love to have an original copy of that on vinyl. I have it on cassette, but I don't have it on CD. I've actually got the cassette right there, but I'd love to have a copy of that on vinyl. And the other one is an album that's not hard to come by, but whenever I see it online, the shipping price just kills me, and I just don't go ahead with it. And that would be Alice Cooper's Raise Your Fist and Yell. Absolutely love that album. And the one before it, Constrictor, and the following 2, Trash and Hey Stupid. They're my Alice Cooper albums, but I'm still missing Alice Cooper's Raise Your Fist and Yell on a vinyl. So that's 2 that I would be after. Number 11, a Boomerang album. An album that no matter how many times you purge it from your collection, another copy returns. Now I have, I'm only going to show one, but I actually have 2 copies, 2 albums from the same band that just seem to end up back in my collection, even though I hate the albums. First, so I've decided to go with this one, Load by Metallica. I really do not like this album at all. I do prefer Reload, but I'm not a huge fan of that one either, to be fair. I was a massive Metallica fan before this album came out, but as soon as this album came out and I heard it, I thought, nah, that's not the Metallica I know and love. And I've had multiple copies of this, along with Saint Anger over the years. But I have it back again, mainly due to the fact that I'm a completist when it comes to Metallica, even though I haven't given a shit about them since 1991, pretty much. I love the Black Album, but after that, yeah, just don't do it for me anymore. Although they have had some good songs, especially on the last 2 albums. which I've really enjoyed. This album just does not do anything for me at all, and if it wasn't completist, I definitely would not have this in my collection. What are we up to? 12, a reunion. Excuse me. Name an artist that you had lost track of over time, but reconnected with in 2024. I talked briefly about this in my end of year list. That band would be Their Side, a band that got me into death metal along with Obituary, and who else was there? And Death. They were the three bands that got me into death metal back in the 90s. But after Once Upon the Cross, for some reason, I just lost interest in them. I don't know if I even lost interest in them. I just didn't pick anything up from them. But back in 2023, I saw Dear Side live, and I thought, hang on a minute, I need to get back into these guys. And in 2024, Banished by Sin came out, and yeah, fell in love with this album, and it's made me go back into the catalogue. Made my top end of year list, this album here, Dear Side, Banished by Sin. So yep, Dear Side, great stuff. 13, Upstart. Name a new band whose debut album really impressed you. This is a band here. I discovered this band on YouTube. Just a video came up and I checked it out and thought the song was absolutely brilliant. These guys are a international band from various different countries. I can't remember where right now, but it's thrashy power metal band called Blood Dawn. The album is called Let the Fury Rise. This is really heavy power metal, really thrashy guitars, but definitely not, you can't call it all out thrash, because there's probably more power metal influences in it than thrash, but it's mainly in the guitar and the drums that, yeah, a lot better than a lot of the thrash albums coming out these days, even though it's power metal. Supergroup of sorts, a lot of members are from other bands, but not that well known. But yeah, fantastic album, Let the Fury Rise, 2024 release. Influence. Show a band release that you bought in 2024 as a direct result of watching someone else's YouTube channel. Now, I'd heard this band before. I've actually got one of their other albums, but I never knew they had a new album coming out, or she had a new album coming out. So as soon as I saw him post it on his video, I went out and got myself a copy online. And that is the 2024 release from Leah, The Glory and the Fallen. And the YouTube channel I went to, which I almost forgot to say, was Jeff McCormick's channel. I'll leave a link to his channel down below. Yeah, he's a big fan of Leah. Didn't quite make his end of year list, but it was in his honourable mentions. Didn't make my list either, but yeah, really good album from Leah. Symphonic metal, really good symphonic metal. Number 15, don't judge a book by its cover. Show a great album with bad cover art. Now I'm going with this one here. I could have chosen quite a few, but I thought I'd show this album. I'm a huge fan of New York hardcore, and especially the band Biohazard. Now this is solo album, second solo album from the band. One of the band's guitarists is Billy Bio. Fantastic album, but that's just so boring. The colours are boring. It's that brown and white. It's just, I don't even know what it's representing, but if I saw that in the store and I didn't know who Billy Bio was, I just would have brushed straight past it. His debut album had a much better album art than this one, but yeah, it's just very boring. But I picked it up because I knew who he was, and I love a bit of Billy Bio. So yeah, horrible album cover though. Number 16, Rembrandt. Show an album where cover art was created by one of your favourite artists. Now I've seen quite a few of these metal tags so far, and at least a couple have had shown this artist. Obviously Ed Ripka, and I'm going to show the band Death and the album Leprosy. I remember when I was younger and I saw that, I thought that's really creepy. And back then I was into my hard rock and hair metal. So yeah, I never even attempted to listen to Death. But over the years, back in the early 90s, when that horrible grunge came in, got more into my death metal. And yeah, love that cover art from Ed Ripka and Death's Leprosy. Name an album you would like to see reissued. I've also seen this one shown on a couple of videos, or at least one video anyway, and that would be another album from Death, and that is Symbolic. The album that actually got me into Death. This album came out, I'm going to say, is it 91? Something around that time. And yeah, fell in love with this album, and yeah, just wish they'd bloody get off their asses and reissue it. Well, it's not the band's fault. I think it's on it's a different label than the rest of them, I believe, and it's never been reissued, which is a damn shame, because one of my favourites for the band. But happy to have the CD, but I'd love to have that cover art on vinyl. 3 more to go. We have number 18. Excuse me. Name an album from a genre that you typically do not listen to very much. Now, I'm not a huge fan of 70s rock and metal. I've never really gotten into it. But growing up, I bought this album as a blind buy. It was because it was in a cheap bin when I had no money. And there's a band called, I don't know how to pronounce the name properly, Coaches. Now, can't remember how many, but there's a number of brothers in the band, and that's their last name. Now, this is 70s hard rock, and I bought this back when I started recollecting vinyl again, more for nostalgia reasons. But I've go back to this every now and again, and every time I really do enjoy it. It's a bit of 70s rock. Walking the Fence is a fantastic track. And so is The Devil's Triangle. That's my favourite song, and I remember when I started getting back into vinyl, I couldn't remember I could not remember the band's name, and if I did, I couldn't remember how to spell it. So I typed the song Devil's Triangle. For some reason, I remembered that title for a song, and I found the band again and figured out where I could get the album from. But yeah, bit of 70s hard rock. This came out in 1979, so it's right at the end of it, but it has that really good 70s country rock, hard rock feel to it. But yeah, Coochies. It's just self-titled, I believe. 19. What band do you hope to see live in 2025? Now, I'm seeing a lot of bands in 2025 that I've never seen before live, and really looking forward to it. But there's 3 bands that I haven't been announced yet, to whether they're going to be playing at the festivals and stuff I'm going to. But the 3 bands I really hope to see in 2025. First one being South Korean band, all-female band Rolling Quartz. I'd absolutely love to see them. They recently played in Australia, but they didn't come to New Zealand, which sucked. But yeah, Rolling Quartz. The other one is by the Swedish band Metalite, my second favourite album of 2024. I would love to see Metalite live. They sound fantastic. And the other one is Dance, and another band out of Sweden. My favourite album of the year. Well, not this particular one, but this is the debut album that I picked up after. I'd love to see Dance from Sweden as well. And last question, number 20. Give 2 shout outs to channels you enjoy, or talk about 2 new channels you discovered in 2024. Now, I actually haven't discovered too many new channels in 2024. So I'm going to talk about a few bands who I've been watching for a number of years now. First one being Tainted Lord 87 out of Canada. Amazing CD collection. He loves all genres of hard rock and metal. Loves some hair metal, loves some metalcore, some new metal, straightforward heavy metal, thrash metal, death metal, black metal, you name it, he likes it. And yeah, he's turned me on to quite a few bands over the years. Even if I haven't picked anything up from the band, I've actually discovered the band through Tainted Lord 87 out of Canada. So I'll leave a link to his channel down below. And the second one I'm going to go with is Ron Haggerty. Now, he's been around the vinyl community well and truly before I started my channel, but I was watching him for a number of years before I joined the VC. He's come and gone at times, but he's actually back at the moment, posting a few videos, which was really awesome. And he loves his Overkill. Remember back in the day, he'd show Overkill all the time. Absolutely loved the band. I'm guessing you still do, Ron. But he also loves a lot of all genres: hair metal, hard rock, straightforward heavy metal, thrash metal. I think he delves into a little bit of the death and doom metal, like even the Candlemass bands like that. But he also loves his Christian rock and metal. So I'm going to leave links to both these guys down below to check out. If you don't know them, I'm sure you do if you know my channel. So yeah, that's my 20 questions, and it's only going with 26 minutes, which is quite an achievement for me to get it to that short length. So yeah, once again guys, hope you enjoyed that. Great questions from the boys over at Metallurgy. And there's plenty of other metal tags out there you can watch also. So without further ado, I'm going to say goodbye and have a great weekend. Bye for now.